So I'm here with Sam Gardner from Gardner Vaughan. Great to see you, mate.
Mike, nice to see you.
So, you guys are one of the most well-known, prominent developers in Queensland and delivered some awesome projects. Do you want to start by talking a bit about those projects, what you've done in the past, and kind of how you see the apartment market here in Queensland?
Sure. So Gardner Vaughan Group, we're in our 35th anniversary this year. We've done a range of projects. Started as a design construct company early on, doing schools, government projects, the likes, and sort of morphed into apartment and multi-story res. Being a smaller, family-grown and developed business, it's had its challenges in the growth period, but we've now got some really good key players and some exciting new IP that's coming in the organisation that allows us to grow. It's allowed us to stick the landing as far as becoming a developer as well. So about 10 years ago, the organisation made the decision to bring development in-house. So builder first, cut our teeth in construction, become a developer. And that was just so that we could control our own destiny. It wasn't working for clients. It wasn't pitching or tendering on jobs. It was making sure that we could have a continuity of work and consistent work for each of our construction teams. So that was a heavy focus for us at the time. At the moment, we previously had done sort of anywhere in between 20 and 30 properties, maybe up to 50 properties per development. We're now sitting around that, 90 to 120 properties per stage of a development. And a lot of that comes down to the control in having input into every single facet of development. And needless to say, the environment that we're in, being a builder developer, certainly helps that.
So, the developer builder is becoming a lot more common. We're seeing that in Sydney. It's a really strong value proposition, I think, in Queensland, where there's uncertainty on some of the construction piece, where it's harder to get a builder. Obviously, if you guys are also the builder, that does help. Do you want to talk to us a bit about how you guys think about that responsibility of being able to have both parts and what that means for the business and for the consumers?
Totally. So we know that being a builder developer in Queensland at the moment gives us an advantage over, not existing developers or existing builders, but it's very difficult to break into the market. And having the experience that we have, the 35 years of tenure, it certainly helps. One of the biggest hesitations for our buyers buying off the plan is that trust. And one of the ways you can, improve this trust is by showing your track record and your experience, but it's really taking the buyers and everyone else involved through the process of, showing them what we're thinking, showing them how these developments have been designed, showing how we've had the end user in mind. And one of the biggest drivers at Gardner Vaughan Group, which really makes it straightforward for a lot of our decision making, is our purpose and promise. And that's we care how you live. It's about the 1%ers for the construction team. It's about the total end user lens with the design team. It's about the community engagement at the front end to ensure that the neighbours, we care how they live, and the rest of the community. And down at the back end, when we're doing the handovers and we've got a lot of, say, downsizers transitioning into apartments, we need to make sure that they're comfortable with that and they have the ability to seamlessly move into one of our properties. More often than not, we'll have buyers return. They will refer or they'll repeat by themselves. Our promise that we care how you live is totally explored in all those avenues. So it's really powerful for us.
There's sometimes a bit of nervousness around, can the developer find a builder? And I think that kind of integrated model where not only can you control the destiny of the company, but also a more repeatable, successful outcome for the consumer. What type of questions are you getting from consumers in relation to the market as it stands today?
One of the big questions is around price. Another question, like you're saying, is around the ability to complete.
Yeah.
We've got a great track record. We've never not complete a project. You also have an ultimate need to continue to feed the team. So you've got construction teams there that need projects subsequent from the ones that they're working on. And just as much on the construction side, you need to be able to pitch to staff members and people that want to join your team just as hard as you want to pitch to a client to back you in and say that you're going to deliver on what you say you are. So it's an interesting environment that we find ourselves in, but it's really an environment conducive to builder developers.
Yeah, I think one of the things, when you've got, particularly like yourself, where your name's literally on the door, there's kind of a degree of accountability that exists when you're both the developer and the builder to make sure that the delivered product is really awesome, because oftentimes when the builder and developer, when those two things have been decoupled, sometimes the builder has less skin on the game from a brand standpoint than the developer in some cases. And so I think having the certainty for the consumer, I think, is a really positive story, and it's something, that we hope to see continue.
Yeah, totally. Having the name on the door is 100% an accountability thing. It's a transparency thing that we are trying to break down these barriers and hesitations. And we do a lot of work in that space with communities and just getting to meet people and talk to them and see what they want and what they don't want. And at the end of the day, we must deliver. With the name on the door, if we don't deliver, well, then they're knocking on my door, So I totally respect the opportunity that we have to improve the city and people's lives. And I won't take that for granted, and we'll do everything we can to deliver on our promise.
One of the first times I ever heard about Gardner Vaughan was quite a while ago, but what I heard about you guys that first time was that you guys do a really good job in terms of the community building part and kind of speaking to the local market and things like that. Do you want to talk a bit about what does that look like, how do you do it, and why it's important to you?
Early on, we didn't have a whole lot of resource and ability to do a whole lot of community engagement work. But after speaking with a few of the other, well-known and reputable developers and builders in the city, we started looking at that more heavily and with a focus on talking to the people, keeping them informed, communication, inviting them in for feedback. And you know what? It's not hard. It's just like you and I having a conversation here. I love talking to people and see what they think about us, see what they think about the industry and the market. And if I can change someone's perception on the industry in a conversation, well, I'll do so. I believe the best form of advertising you can do is when you arrest people's attention for 2 to 3 hours at sort of events and things. You can't do that in the paper.
Yeah.
You can do it via videos if you can keep their attention that long, but meeting them in person at an event, a community event, a barbecue in the park, or at one of the existing buildings, it just goes a long way. So we're certainly keeping a focus on that, and it's something I'd like to continue.
Yeah, we always talk about that experience counts for a lot, and I think engaging with the community, having accountability for the build outcomes, being front and center, having your name on the door, and really owning that kind of end-to-end process and the outcome for the consumer, something I really respect about what you guys are doing. And I think, the more developers that are kind of doing that, the better it is for our whole market. And so appreciate all the great work, my friend, and all the best for the future.
Thanks very much.